Welcome to the Generation Social Change podcast. I'm your guide, Antonina, and today we're talking about self-actualization or emotional pacification. So, what does this mean? These days in our culture, in our generation, we feel that therapy is the way to connect with who we really are, to get to know our emotions, to realize one's true nature and true self. But in reality, therapy is only cultivating codependency with another. If we actually want self-actualization, to become the fullest, to become the person that we are destined to be, that we are made to be, this requires self-awareness and self-healing and self-mastery through oneself, through the connection with God. Therapy is very helpful for grieving emotions and what you've experienced and talking about the trauma and the drama to make sense of that event or experience or upbringing. But if you actually want to self-actualize and become all of you, realize your potential, that is going to require a deep connection and relationship with yourself. This requires independence from one another and knowing thyself. Yes, we want interdependence in relationship, but we do not want codependency. So if you feel the need to process your emotions and grieve and discuss with a therapist in confidence what you've been through, that is helpful for grieving. But if you're anything like me, who spent many years in therapy trying to make sense of myself through making sense of what I've been through, it only led me to deep depression, disconnect with myself, and suicidal ideation, which I talked about in the first episode of Generation Social Change podcast. And my true God moment, my true spiritual revelation came from being in therapy 3 days a week and realizing, what am I doing? Talking about the trauma and the drama was literally keeping me locked in the energy, and it was making me so depressed to the point where I did not want to be here. And in that moment, thank you, God. Thank you to my spirit who said, enough. What you want is self-actualization. What you want is to connect deeply with yourself and become embodied in who you are without a single person's approval or validation, none other than your own, and through your higher power, which is God. That then and there, in a moment where I'm talking to my therapist and literally about to go off the deep end and realizing, thank you to my spirit, thank you to God, that this is not the way. That this has to stop immediately, that this can go on no further, because years and years of finding a therapist, years and years and talking about the trauma and the drama of what you've been through is not going to get you to self-actualization. What is going to get you to self-actualization and becoming your true self daily, weekly, monthly, embodied on a radical level where you know yourself, things shift quickly, you connect with and embody who you are through your own power, through your own potential, through connecting with your own self without anyone's approval, validation, mirror, whatever. Really trusting and coming into connection with yourself requires only one person, and that is you. At that moment, my spirit, thank you, drew a line in the sand and said, enough. This direction is not the way we want to go. If we want self-actualization, we have to create boundaries around everything you've been through and talk about it no further. Because it was only keeping me in a loop of that. Things outside of myself how people treated me, the way of the world that was bothering me, that was affecting me, and I had to remove myself from that, which required a period of isolation, which required me to take time to get to know myself, to heal, and to learn to be in my own energy without the effect or impact and influence from another, really coming into my own. So after withdrawing from therapy, needing that external validation, needing that external approval, no more. Really taking the time to get to know me through the power of the Lord on a daily basis, and no longer looking for outside approval or validation, and really starting to approve and validate and honor myself through the power of self-healing, okay? On a daily basis, connecting to who I am, who I was, what I felt as a result of. Not to talk about anyone else any further, but to really talk about me, myself, my experience, and not the past, but where I am and where I'm going and what I'm doing. And giving myself space to live again, not to ruminate in how other people act, how other people show up, but really how I am acting, how I am showing up, how I am being. This is where the authority is. This is where the autonomy is. This is the way of self-actualization, realizing oneself. It does not come through a discussion with one another, maybe light bulb moments, but to commit to self-actualization is to really allow yourself to become who you are. Not by finding your faults, but leaning in to the brilliance, leaning into the lessons, leaning into the trust of yourself, the strengths, the vulnerabilities, and allowing the fullness of your emotional expression, not wronging yourself, not shaming yourself, not judging yourself, because people will judge you. People will count you out. People will fall asleep on you. But are you judging you? Are you counting you out? Are you sleeping on you? I was. And I was allowing other people to judge me, fall asleep on me, count me out. And I was upset about that. But when I said no more and started to honor me and accept me in all my experience, not count me out, but count me in, not fall asleep on me, but wake up. Wake up to the moment, wake up to my power. If I wanted to experience better energy, I had to recognize the better energy that was inside of me and start to connect with that and start to become that and start to let that shine through. Not be influenced by anyone else other than myself and God. And this is where the power of self-realization and self-actualization occurs. Can you actually feel and connect with who you are? Because this is the most important thing. So we think that being in therapy, talking about what everyone else is doing or has done to us, or what we're experiencing, or what we're frustrated with everybody else in the world, no. We don't need someone else to lead us to realize oneself, and ask you questions about yourself and give you guidance about yourself. No. You connecting to you, you trusting you, you realizing you actualizing yourself. This is the way. This is the way. This is the mobility. This is where you get momentum. This is where you can start to feel your vitality, your energy, your brilliance, your radiance, and dare I say magic. Dare I say magic. If I could give myself in the last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, permission was to move on. Yes, this happened to you. Yes, this was your experience. Yes, this is what you see in the world. But what do you want to be? How do you want to feel? How do you want to become? And show up daily for the life that you want to create. It is not talking about anybody else. It is not being influenced by anyone else. It's really being grounded in your own energy, giving yourself permission every single day to feel what you're feeling, to think what you're thinking, to take action on what you're being called to do, being in silence, being in stillness, and moving in what your spirit is calling you, what your values are. This is self-realization. And when we start to realize in little moments, the good, the bad, the indifferent here, this is where we can start to, actualize oneself, embody oneself. It's you and you. You see, every single day, it's not always going to be high. Sometimes there will be lows as well. But can you understand the value of that moment? What is this moment showing you about yourself? For me, I was giving way too many people, especially my family, power over my own experience. No wonder why I was depressed. No wonder why I was suicidal. No wonder why I didn't want to be here. Because all of my energy, all of my attention, all of my conversation, all of my thoughts was going to them, to what they think, to how they feel, to what they show up or don't show up for me, instead of saying, you know what, none of that matters anymore, Antonina. What matters is what you think. What matters is what you feel. What matters is how you show up for you. This is where your power lies. This is the power of self-realization. It is not sitting in therapy for the rest of your life trying to make sense of how other people show up or did not show up for you. But it's saying, you know what? Today I choose me. Today I honor me. Today I recognize me. This is the power of the self-healing method. This is your power to recognize, to realize the power that you are on this earth right here, right now. When you give yourself permission to realize who you are through your own self-awareness and through the connection with your higher power, God, then you can become who you are born to be, regardless of what you have been through. You get to evolve. You get to lead yourself and no longer be influenced by anyone else. What you do and how you move is based on you and your higher power alone, not anyone else. How other people show up is irrelevant. That has nothing to do with you. How you show up is everything. How you show up is your power, your potential, your energy, your momentum, your currency, your alignment, your strength. And recognizing inner vulnerability, inner weakness. There is magic in here. Are we going to give that to someone else to determine, to judge us, to fall asleep on us, to count us out? Are we going to say, regardless, I accept me. I count me in. I'm not falling asleep on myself in this lifetime. I'm waking up in this lifetime. What is it going to be? What is it going to be for you? You get to choose. Are you going to sit there and pacify your emotions based off how other people show up? Are you going to put yourself in the game of life and realize who you are, who you are made to be in this lifetime, right here, right now? I want to invite you to the self-healing method that starts June 1st. I would love to see you there. Link is down below. Have a wonderful and magical day. And remember who you are.